I watched Bridgerton, and here is what I thought. So, season 4 focuses on Benedict and his love story. And to get a gist of what it's about, it's basically a Cinderella retelling. So, Benedict meets Sophie at this masquerade ball. And then, when a clock strikes 12, she runs away, leaving her glove. And this woman has intrigued him so much that he decides to search for her. Okay, that's the very basic synopsis of this show. So right now I'll be getting into more detail and spoiler territory, so you have been warned. But let's get into the details of season 4, part 1. So I have read all the books in the Bridgerton series right after season 1 came out. And let me just tell you, Benedict's book was my absolute least favorite. I did not like his book at all. And when I tell you, they literally could have done anything with his story and I would not have cared because I didn't like his book at all. The expectations for this season were on the ground because I didn't care. I didn't care what happened. I didn't care where they ended up because I just did not like his book. And again, I think another part of why my expectations were so low is also because of season 3. I had very high expectations for season 3 and it didn't meet those. And when I saw part 2 of season 3 and my expectations were really low, I enjoyed it a lot more. So again, my expectations for this season were so low that I didn't expect anything. I had no high hopes. And I was actually enjoying myself for part 1 of season 4. Okay, let's get into some of my favorite parts of part 1 so far. So I have to say my absolute favorite part are Sophie and Benedict. I'm loving them. I really like their banter and I think their chemistry is really good. They just get along so well. And I really, really liked that we still had them at the cottage and that was like an entire episode. I was a little nervous they would kind of cut that short just because, again, I feel like with Penelope and Colin's story, a lot was cut out and wasn't focused on them and was focused more on side stories. So I was nervous a similar thing would happen in Sophie and Benedict's story. But fortunately, it didn't seem like that happened. While we do have the side stories, I am so excited to say we had like that cottage episode where we really did focus on them and kind of got to see them get to know each other and kind of fall more for each other. So yeah, Sophie and Benedict throughout this first part, I've just really liked how they communicate and how it's kind of like easy and they're like friends, but they just get along so well. So seeing them together throughout the first part has been one of my favorites. Okay, another one of my favorite parts during this half of the season was the whole pinnacle discussion and the whole conversation and how that was going about. So first it was the discussion between Violet and Francesca and how Francesca's trying to figure out like, what is this pinnacle people are talking about? Like, what is it, trying to figure out for herself? And her mom's like barely describing anything because she's just doesn't know what to say and so embarrassed. Like, that was one of the funny parts of the show. Poor Violet, like she doesn't know what to do. But I liked seeing that discussion. And then I also liked seeing the discussion she had with Penelope because she's like, Penelope, don't beat around the bush, just tell it me like it is. What is it? And Penelope's like, okay, let's do it. So it was so funny just to see how Penelope described it versus how Violet described it, and then just seeing Francesca's reaction to both. I just thought it was a very humorous part of the show that came about. But I also liked how the conversation kind of came up with John as well, and he made her feel okay and comfortable. It's like, we are our own couple. We don't need to compare ourselves to anyone. So I really like how John comforts her and doesn't make her feel ashamed or embarrassed. So I really like that about John. Like, I really do appreciate John and Francesca. And I didn't know I would like John this much in this series because in the books we don't really learn too much about him. But I like seeing the side of him, so I know their story is gonna like break me. Okay, another one of my favorite scenes, and I think this is probably the iconic line of the first part of the season, is I am the tea that you will be having. When I tell you, I'm like, yes, Mama Bridgerton, yes, Violet, girl, do your thing, girl. I was like so happy for her, and I was not ready. I was not ready for her game. Like, I didn't know she knew, like, we all knew she knew she was doing, but like Violet, I was not ready. I say my jaw was on the floor when that was happening. I couldn't believe it. And I was loving her lady's maid when she was like, this is what we're going to do. You want to entertain someone without anyone knowing? We'll make sure you can get that done, girl. And I was like, yes, we love someone that supports Violet Bridgerton. We love a girl's girl. And I was here for all of it. She's like, girl, I got you. I'm going to take care of it. No need to worry. And she took care of it. She's like, no one's going to be in the house. He's going to come in. Y'all going to entertain each other. And no one will be the wiser. So I was here for it. I just loved them working together and how her lady's mate was like, I got you. So definitely that was one of my favorite parts of the season as well. Okay, let's get into some of my not so favorite parts of the first half of the season. So I may have discussed this in previous seasons before, but my least favorite part so far is within the story of John, Francesca, and Michaela. I'm disappointed of how it's coming about because it's almost like they are portraying it like a love triangle with Francesca, which I guess it kind of was, but I think the focus of the love triangle is kind of a complete 180 as it was in the books. So in the show, it seems like Francesca is trying to keep her distance from Michaela because there is some sort of attraction or some type of feeling she doesn't want to give into or give attention to, or she feels different around Michaela. Or that's what I'm perceiving from what the show has given us so far. It's just that like she's not, doesn't know what these feelings are, so she doesn't want to be around Michaela. I do like John and Francesca's love story and how that part is playing out because we are getting more background into their relationship than we did in the books. But I feel the way they are going about things and how it currently is playing out, it's almost like she may kind of like love John and care for him, but she's not in love with him, or he's not her true love. And it seems like she won't get her true love unless it's with Michaela. And that part is just disappointing in itself because it's kind of the opposite of Francesca's story. And I think one reason when I was reading the book that I enjoyed Francesca's story so much is because you see that she did truly love John. Like he was her true love, or she was in love with him. And then she just happened to find another love of her life after a loss or after heartbreak. So the only thing I can really equate it to is what we're currently seeing with Violet Bridgerton, like how we're seeing her kind of find herself again and maybe not be in love, but like be happy again. That similar storyline is what Francesca's storyline should be, and what it is in the books is how Violet Bridgerton had a great love, had a man with so many kids, lost him early unfortunately, and now she's kind of raising her kids by herself. But now she's at this point where she is ready to kind of not move on or just be happy again. And that's kind of how Francesca's story was. There was a point where she found this love, this great guy, and they were in love with each other. She had eyes for no one else. And then some loss happened, and now she's at a point of her life where she's ready to be happy again or find someone else to love. So that story for Violet is how in the books Francesca's was playing out. So I guess what I don't like in the show is how it's kind of feeling like her love for John will not be as great as her love for Michaela, when in reality it wasn't like that in the books. And maybe to some people it was like that because we don't really know her love story with John. Just when I interpreted the books, it seemed like she really did care about John and loved him, and now she's in another point in her life trying to move on, and she ends up finding another love, a second. But there was one scene I hated the absolute most in this part, and I think you guys may agree with me and may know what I'm talking about. It is the final line that Benedict says in part 1, "Be my mistress." Absolutely not. No. When I tell you, I wanted them to change everything in the show. And if they changed nothing, I wanted them to change that line. But they did not. Because that exact line was in the book. And that exact line was one of the reasons this book was my least favorite. When I tell you, I'm a little upset at these people, a part of creating this show, because you mean to tell me you can change almost all of Kate and Anthony's storyline and kind of made it it more of a love triangle, then you can change Penelope and Colin's story a little bit and add in all these extra characters and everything. But you can't take out the one line that made me hate Benedict so much. I'm mad at y'all. I'm mad because I'm like, surely they will change the story to be so much better than when he says that line, but they didn't. The one book I wanted them to change so much of, they didn't. And yeah, that made me upset because that part, I was like, no, absolutely not. So we'll see how the show finishes. I do have some hope, but that part really made me upset because I was like, I knew it was coming because I read the books, but I was really hoping they would take that line out or maybe change it to not be so harsh. You know what I mean? But the way they were playing it up when they kept mentioning, oh, this person has a mistress, you can't control who your heart is, but we're of some type of society. I was like, y'all better not do this. And they did. Okay, another part I didn't love about this part of the season was the discussion around Lady Danbury leaving. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this. Like, Lady Danbury is one of my favorite characters on the show, and to see her possibly not be in a future season is very heartbreaking. I have a feeling she may be coming back or maybe make some appearances, but it seems as though she may not be as big of a character or have as many scenes as she has had in the past. So I'm kind of disappointed in that kind of character leaving because the show will definitely be different, but it looks like in this first part she's trying to find her replacement for the queen, so the queen still has some kind of friend. I do like the Mondrick family, and it seems as though they're using the wife to kind of replace Lady Danbury, or maybe not replace, but just step in for where Lady Danbury will not be anymore. But I am nervous to see how this plays in the future, just because Lady Danbury is such a beloved character and very hard shoes to fill. So I'm worried that maybe it may not play out as what they believe, and maybe fans might not love it. I'm not sure what their dynamic will do, just because we got a little bit more background in Queen Charlotte between Lady Danbury and the Queen. So I feel like that made a lot of people enjoy their relationship even more in future Bridgerton seasons. So now with not having Lady Danbury, I'm wondering what this future Bridgerton will be like. Okay, so after watching part 1 of Bridgerton season 4, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I'm actually having a decent time. Yes, that last line did ruin some of the moment for me that Benedict said, but overall, I'm having a better time than I had in season 3, and I'm feeling more chemistry between these two characters than I did from Colin and Penelope in all of season 3, if I do say so myself. I'm even going to say, guys, I felt more chemistry from Colin and Penelope in just the parts we saw of them in this season than I felt in season 3 when it was their actual season. Like, how does that make any type of sense? I don't understand. But it is what it is. But yeah, I'm going to rate this 3.5 stars. So far, having a good time. Interested to see the second part will be like. So those are my thoughts on Bridgerton season 4 part 1. I will be coming back when part 2 comes out, so keep a lookout for that review of Bridgerton. And we will see how I feel, and maybe we'll get a hint to whose season will be next at the end of season 4. I have a feeling it might be Eloise. At least I really hope it is, because honestly, hers is the only season I want to see right now. But we will see. So far, having a good time. Let's hope that this continues. If you have seen part 1 of Bridgerton, what were your thoughts? Do you feel the chemistry? How are we feeling about Sophie and Benedict? And how are we feeling about Lady Danbury leaving? Are y'all like, oh, it's fine, it's okay? Or are you guys heartbroken? Because I know I am. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Also, let me know your ratings for this part as well. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, week, month, and hopefully a good rest of your year. And until next time, bye.